But we're not going to dilly-dally. We are going to spring into the step here and see how things are going to start. So, of course, it's the opening semi-final of the competition here for the Major. Team 1 will be on defense up against FaZe Clan on the attack. It's an important best-of-3 ahead of us. It's been best-of-2 the whole way through the regular season here. So this really is going to be a test of either side's steel. Who is going to be handy and able to earn their keep going into it, Tim? That's what we want to prove tonight.
We certainly do, and as we've said, really, coming in, Team 1 do have the advantage, not only in the regular season, but historically as well. They do have a better record against Team FaZe than FaZe do against them. So, for me, will history paint the entire picture? No, it never does. And there is always upsets to be had. But you have to look at it to a degree. And right now, given the form as well, I do give an edge to Team 1 here. What I will say is that FaZe need to come in and have a very strong start.
Oh, absolutely, mate. No chance for you to start on the back burner. You want to come in, all of you, looking like 5 fingers on one hand and hope that that hand-eye coordination is on point tonight, or else you are going to take a punch to the lips from Team 1. They have been quick when it's come to their opening attacks. They have been really good at actually coming in aggressive, looking clean throughout the start of these rounds. We haven't seen them looking too slow to the burn anymore, which has been a fantastic transition for them throughout the series. Will that be the case tonight, though, on their defense? Can they put up a solid opener here and really rattle FaZe Clan to their limits? I think starting it off on Villa is the dream scenario for us for really in a best-of-3 like this, Tim, and I just can't wait to see it, mate. I'm just in for the ride here. It's going to be a major day of action.
Oh, locked, loaded, ready to go. The glasses are off, Jackie. We are not messing about now. We are here and ready to get the LATAM Major underway, and I hope that everybody at home is just as excited as we are, because this is going to be a huge start. I'm willing to put my neck on the line and guarantee that one, Jackie. We are going to have fireworks. As you say, kicking off on Villa. We've seen these two teams already play on Villa in the regular season, and guess what happened? 6-all draw. Nothing could separate the two of them. It went the entire distance, and I just hope that we managed to squeeze as much excitement out of this one as we did back then on Playday 2.
Oh, mate. If we get the same outcome once again, you are going to have us hyped up and ready for action. But here's the caveat to it, right? Obviously, we had draws the whole way through that regular season. Now we're into the position where we must decide a winner. There will be overtime, so the best of the best has to come out in each and every one of these maps. There's no chance for them to just bash up against one another, clash and walk away at an equal stance. We're not content with that. They will be playing and out for blood for those overtime victories. And I think, again, that suits both of these sides. We've seen them have close games. Now we get to decide a true winner off the back of it. It's going to be banging.
No two ways about it. We can see that we are defending here in Aviator and Games. That's going to be site number 1 for Team 1 as we come in on this defensive phase. If we have a look at how they've done previously, it's not been the best for them, Jackie. 30% win rate defending this site, so they've certainly got some work to do. It is there for FaZe to take. It's not going to be an easy one, but they need to get it locked down. I've just realised I've actually looked at the wrong stat there. That's on attack on defence. 80% win rate, Jackie. So looking a bit more favourable for Team 1. But they do have better defensive sites, so it's still a bit of a roll of the dice for them. They're looking to come in and get a site that they haven't won every single time on defence, and then follow it up with 2 sites, Trophy Statuary, Dining Kitchen, that they have won repeatedly every single time on defence. So for me, this is a very important round. Round number 1 for FaZe Clan to come out, grab this one on the attack, and just make sure that they are in a position to avoid going 3-0 down.
Now, what's rough here as well is Luke had actually played that really nicely, effectively just playing with support of his teammates so that you could get the trade, and Fools does come in. Luke was playing anti-flash on the stairway. Ooh, that's not ideal. Mav with a follow-up HE, dropping bombs on Fools, and they're really falling out of favour into the round already. They're down to a 3 versus 4 here, with only 50 seconds basically left to go into the round. This is a rough position to be in now for Team 1. The defense is a little bit destabilized, and FaZe Clan, they've got confidence. They're willing to work their way in. They can try and push through, utilize the thermite of Una to open up that wall, and you've got a clear line of sight into the bomb site to dash that diffuser down and really start start putting the pressure here on Team 1 and attempting to get them left on ice. But can they do it, Tim? 30 seconds remaining now as push comes to shove.
30 seconds to go, and Reduct will shut Mav down. Here comes the Team 1 collapse, and we've seen that they are so good at this throughout the season. Reduct gets live, and now all of a sudden, within seconds, Una finds himself in a 1 versus 3, 15 seconds left on the clock. There is an absolute mountain for him to climb. He sees one pro and will not hit his shots, and the Jaeger of Reduct will close Una out for the first round to go on the board to Team 1, and that is something that we've seen Team 1 do repeatedly through the season. They are not worried about being overly aggressive in that early round. They've got a plan, and they are happy to play to it, and that is exactly what they did there. 3 versus 4, you're not going to scare them. They just locked it down, held their angles, they were confident on the setup, and ultimately it won the day for them. So that's going to be round 1 going to them, and they now move into a situation where they can go to 2 sites back-to-back that they have yet to lose on defense. Trophy and Statuary, 4 defenses, 0 plants against them, 0 wins against them. They are solid on this site. Can FaZe come in and break that steal?
Oh my. It's going to be a hard-fought fight. It's not going to be easy. A surprising turnaround in the round there for Team 1, though. You know, it looked like they were starting to buckle. The pressure was a little bit too much, but they snapped back into position by just snapping and going for those wild swings, peeking into it, absolutely slaughtering FaZe Clan and leaving them looking like FaZe Clan pulp on the floor, like some kind of finely ground paste, Tim. It's a hell of a way to open up the initial round, but the response comes out, and already something's perked my interest. We see Una coming through on the Finker. We know what this man can get up to. We've seen his clutches in the past. Obviously, it's a different day, different availability for him to try and slaughter, but definitely keep your eyes on him. If there is potential for someone to need to really grab around with both hands, it'll probably be Una in the late round.
Oh, we've seen the man's capabilities on Finker, no question. We saw 1 versus 4 clutch out of him on coastline. It was an absolute beauty with, honestly, for my money, one of the best nades that I've ever seen in Siege. It was absolutely unreal. If you missed that one, he basically was challenged out of VIP, so he turned tail and ran. Exactly the correct decision. All the way around to the top floor, to the opposite side of the courtyard, got himself into luggage, and then launched a grenade right across that big open space, across the old donut, in through VIP door, and just absolutely laid waste to Hugzord in VIP. It was a beauty. It was the 3rd man of a 1v4 clutch. He then moves his way into the site, which was Hooker, got himself up against that hard reinforce between Billiards and Hooker. The man was the opposite side. It was the mute. I think it might have been Hornetau, and he just closed him down and shut him out with that big old LMG. Una is extremely capable on this operative.
He's proficient, he's poised, and he's ready to punish. He plays really, really well into those awkward clutch rounds where the pressure's on him and it is just carnage. That's where you see him step up to the mark. And right now, he's lucky. There is a little bit of a lull into the round. Obviously, we haven't seen too much aggression coming forward, so he's still alive and kicking. He's just big chilling with the rest of the squad at the minute, as we're 1 minute and 40 seconds left here on the clock, and we are initially starting to see the push coming through from FaZe Clan. They do prefer those slower styles of attack. They do like to utilize the drones as much as possible and then play that big game of push and pull, trying to split and pick, and we'll see if they can actually find some picks. They get the opening frag, but there's already 2 back in the favor of Team 1. In terms of the frags we've seen, this bloodbath is starting to overflow. Ooh, no opportunity for the Finker assault to come through this time from Una, as Raps will deny the push, dropping it just down to Ion on Mav in a 2 versus 3 here, with about 60 seconds left to work with. Utility could be used to really do some damage, but there is going to be a magnet in place. That will suck it straight up and stop him from being able to have any carnage caused with the dirty, dirty nades.
2 versus 2, 50 seconds left to go, and so far FaZe doing well on the entry game, better than they have throughout the season, and that's something they're going to need to continue. For Epox on the side of Team 1, plus 16 so far on the season, so can absolutely dominate in the early phases. We see shots exchange there. Raps, he's going to move away. I'm not sure if he's got any of those stim pistols left to juice himself back up, or whether he is now going to have to play out the round on that low HP. We see shots again. This is just tit for tat at the minute. Just shots being exchanged. Tickles coming in left, right, and center. But more than a tickle there, as Mav will land a knockout punch onto Raps, and that leaves us 2 versus 1. Here comes the challenge. Philippox gets one. Switches to the pistol. He knows the challenge is coming, but he can't shut it down. oNe will be in the battle of the pistols coming through, and that was lucky, FaZe. You need to learn a lesson from that. You cannot double stack a duo like that, because on a different day, I tell you now, Philippox shuts both of those down with 2 bullets.
Tim, they literally gave him a chance. That was like the one opportunity where, although we normally talk about it, right? Don't give them the 1v1s. We're not talking about playing it that way. Just the both wide swing into the doorway. So awkward. They could have been absolutely slaughtered if he just came through and cut them to pieces there with the Vector. Nearly found the frag with the pistol as well. Oh, an alternate timeline on that one, and this would have been 2-0. But FaZe Clan do pick it up. iON somehow is able to stay alive and do the danger dance to keep himself in the position to work through and pick one up. So 1-1 split now here on Villa. The game's kept close, but those rounds were certainly going to get the heartbeats pounding for Team 1, you'd imagine.
They really will, and if nothing else, it lets them know that they are in a game right now. FaZe Clan, of course, are here to play. There is big money on the line. I think it's, I don't remember the exact split. I think it's $50,000 for the winner. We'll check on that. We'll get an exact figure. I'm 99% sure in saying that. So $50,000 will go to the winning team. That is the breakdown. Obviously, the prize pool itself is larger than that as well. And there is also a good couple of 100 points to go along with it in those 6 invitational qualifying stakes. So it really is all to play for here. There is an awful lot on the line in every single game from first to last, and every single round counts massively towards that. And right now, we couldn't have asked for a better start, Jackie. We've had these two come out hell for leather and really taking shots at each other. They are exchanging blows, and it's even. It's 1-1. I'm so excited for the rest of this game.
Oh, mate. It started off exactly the way we would have wanted it to, coming into it here. Off the back of the weekly games, we've seen this domestic matchup. We know how they've faced off previously. So to really get it starting off in a fantastic way, with both of them going for the 1v1s, a close round that could have ended with just the 2K spray down as well, stopping FaZe Clan from able to get back into it immediately, it might spiral out of control. We know what Team 1 are like. Normally on their defense, if they put the hard foot forward, they've got the boots strapped up, they've got their socks pulled up, and they're ready to rumble, and then it takes a lot of time to slow them down. So the fact that there's been an instant bite back from FaZe, this means that the game will hopefully be a little bit more competitive with the way it's going.
1 minute in, and we see a slightly slower start to the round now as the pace drops off. It is sort of inevitable. You know, we come out here, there's a lot of excitement. It's into the major. Both team want an advantage, but when you get those couple of rounds just trade either way and we sit 1-1, teams start thinking, you know, let's just settle ourselves into this. There's a lot of siege to be played yet. There is a long way to go in this game, and they don't want to start losing lives too soon. In comes the nade. It's not going to do too much damage for Lukid. He's going to keep himself active there. The Wamai Magnet's just going to burn that second nade as well. And right now, this Master Closet has been a real thorn in the side of some teams throughout this season, really struggling to clear the man out of here. Quite often, you'll get the Doc playing in there, and he just keeps juicing himself up to keep himself in the fight longer. But 2 minutes of been burnt by Lukid here, and still they are no closer to shifting him. It looks like he's got Raps on Overwatch. He's been juiced up by one of those stim pistols, and that's sort of like the next evolution of this. Don't put the Doc directly in there himself. Play him further back on a long angle with that ACOG, and he'll just juice up whoever's sat in there. It's a perfect evolution. And right now, Lukid, he's just going to hold himself tight for the time being.
Just waiting for the onslaught to come towards them, attempting to take down those shields as the peak will come around from iON on the Ash, and he'll land the shot. He'll drop it down to the ground and open up another line of sight to make the push a little bit easier for them. Talking of the push, though, it needs to come through relatively soon, and we do get another encounter here. An awkward stalemate between the two, as Astro will back off after trying to punish towards the stairwell. Another peek from Mav will be found soon, but in the meantime, iON is putting his firearms to good use, as he'll furiously strike back against Philippox, slaying the man. Reduct removes Yunar from the equation, and again, Astro trying his luck towards the stairway. This time, he's a bullet soup, and he will be dropped down down to the ground, much like the entirety of the team for FaZe, as it is only one man that remains. Ion, trapped on his own, shipped off on an island. Not much that can really be done in the 1 versus 3. He's not going to be able to get his move onto the site and drop down the diffuser. So a little bit too slow to the burn into that one. Team 1, they pick it up. They did well on the defense, and they kept him at arm's length, Tim, utilizing the barge pole technique.
Absolutely, just kept fending them away every time they tried to get closer. They just gave them a little nudge back in the opposite direction. And that round really did come down to Lukid and Raps working together as the Doc and the Wamai. Lukid just keeping himself from the first moment to the last alive in that master closet. I'm not sure I've seen somebody survive in there for 3 minutes previously, but he did a great job of it. And what happened was it completely stalled out the FaZe attack. They knew they couldn't push into master without doing that. We saw a couple die on astronomy stairs because they didn't have any choice. They had to late round rotate, try plan B, try to push from somewhere else. They just could not drive a wedge into the cracks. There were none to be found on the master side, and it was a tough round for them. So we head back to Aviator Games. We saw Team 1 win this back in round 1. FaZe had a convincing start. They came in and got themselves a man advantage, 4 versus 3 coming into the late round. But Team 1, they were not scared by that whatsoever. Just held down their angles on site, allowed FaZe to push onto them, and then just drove the sword deep as they tried to execute onto site. And it really was a quick switch around for Team 1, and we found ourselves very quickly 1 versus 3 for the side of FaZe. And never really looked close to this one. So I think Team 1, they'll be looking to stretch the legs here. They'll be confident of getting another round on the board. For me, what do FaZe need to do differently? On this side, I think we could do with seeing a little bit of attention to both sides. We saw it very much study and south side focused last time around. It did them well in the early round, got them those couple of entry kills, but I want to see some pressure from Trophy Statuary this time as well. Maybe a 3 and a 2 split so that Team 1 know they are surrounded. They know that there is no safe space for them.
It's scary though, because already, I know we're only 3 rounds in, but it's the fact that FaZe, they tend to do a lot of their damage on the attacks. So if you start off sluggish here, you're not coming out with those big rounds, and you are really struggling, that's not going to be a good transition when we then flip over at the side half and we do give Team 1 the opportunity to really pack a punch. Talking of damage being dealt as well, immediately the Zophia's dropped down to the DECK. She'll take a hefty hit. She is brought back up into the fight, but of course sustainability is going to be a massive asterisk going forward as she's not looking too healthy, Tim. Bit green around the gills.
Certainly taken a pinch or two there and lost a lot of life. This time Lukid holding down another key area of the map. We've just seen him do it successfully for 3 whole minutes in the master closet. This guy must like living under pressure. He's going to turn into a diamond if he continues doing this for much longer, Jackie, because he is in every difficult spot you could find on this map. He's now got himself on the south stairs as the Wamai. He's just dishing out the magnets there. He's going to hold them back for as long as possible. And we've spoken about why this area is so important, and it's because FaZe Clan, they want to aggress on and they want to take over that south 90 corridor to get him behind the bar. As it is, Mav, he cleans Lukid's clock and sends him packing with a nice nade there to take him off south stairs. That's really going to open things up for FaZe now, and at 5-2, you've got to give them a bit of an advantage here. Raps will get himself shut down as well by Una. 1 versus 2. How about that for a quick swing from Felipox? If anyone can do it, we know it's this man, but he doesn't expect the 3rd challenger from south stairs, and FaZe keep themselves level, putting round 4 in the books, and it is now 2-all.
Man. What's really interesting about that, though, is I think they actually have that lineup preset. You can see they've seen the way that Team 1 have been playing it. They've had that 2-player setup for a good majority of the season, where you do have, of course, the Wamai, then being backed up by the smoke. You'll play with those Goyo shields and just effectively play with the 2-player setups. You can trade for one another if necessary, but you can block off that entire side of the map. You've got the stairway covered. You aren't going to be coming through the windows, because if you do, the smoke's instantly got contact. You can drop down a couple of those cans. You either have to take the damage if you want to push through it, or just accept that you're going to burn time off the clock and then go for a late round execute. But the players that they've figured out is obviously utilizing that nade. They've blown them out of position twice. It takes down the Goyo shield, it gets rid of anything that holds the stairway back, and primarily it is killing the Wamai both times. As soon as they get rid of his magnets, he is a sitting duck, Tim, and that is twice we've seen the exact play go down. Only issue is this time, Team 1, they weren't as hot when it came to the trade game.
They really weren't, and I mean, the other reason for playing two men on that south stairs location, again, it's another evolution that we've seen of that defense. We did see the initial placing of one and occasionally a bit of extra utility, but the reason that they're playing two on there is to prevent the well-timed pinch from the attackers, as you said. What they don't want is, like, let's challenge south stairs now, and let's push into study whilst the man is busy challenging south stairs. So then you've got free real estate in study, or vice versa. Push into study and then push south stairs at the same time. So by playing two there, it prevents that happening. You've got one man who his sole focus is to challenge study, and you've got one man whose sole focus is to challenge south stairs. And it gives you the opportunity as well, if pushed at the same time and you lose a man, to potentially be flexible and to move around and think, actually, south stairs is more important in this second than giving away study. So I've lost my south stairs, man. I'm going to rotate around. I'm just going to wheel on my heel here and just try and get some kills. And that's why they've started playing those two men there. But this time it wasn't successful. It was well challenged by FaZe. Nade coming in was absolutely key to clearing that position. And the reason, as I said, I was partway through saying when the kills started raining, and the reason that they want to fight for that position so hard, the defenders and attackers, is the attackers, they want control of that south 90 corridor. They want to get themselves in through the rotation or even a hard breach if they need to. Reduct. Come on. The man was stood looking clean at the window, and Mav cleaned him right off it there with the opening kill. Mav having a good day on the entry so far. That's his second in a row. He also got round one as well, so 3 out of 5 go in his direction at the minute. And that is not the start that Team 1 wanted in this round.
It's not. It's very uncharacteristic from Reduct as well. He's not the type of player that will normally stand in a position like that, just admiring the bright horizons and taking in some of the sunlight.
He's just having a look at the vistas.
Yeah, just, straight photosynthesizing, Tim. He wanted to try and get some of that oxygen coming through. Nice little cool breeze. It is a hot day, but unfortunately for him, he received the hot steel straight to the lips, dropping him down to the ground and giving FaZe another opener. And in terms of the opening duels, they've been doing pretty good coming into this one. They've been struggling throughout the season, a couple of encounters, I must say, but at least into this game here on Villa, they've been doing a very fine job of opening up these rounds with a few nice shots here and there. But you do have the big bolstered defense of Team 1 lurking towards the site. And I don't think this is going to be a pretty sight for sore eyes here for FaZe Clan when push comes to shove. As they're repositioning around, you've got a free-player Wolfpack ready to bombard their way in past the vault door, but Falls, he could dispatch every single one of them. He's just waiting to introduce Big Papa Pump, the shotty that wants to really serve up a signature killing blow if they come through one by one.
No further kills then. This round is just taking a little bit more time to fire up, but what that generally means is that an absolute bloodbath in the last 10-15 seconds now. As I suggested, FaZe are doing what I said. They are going both sides. Philippox, however, is going to shut Mav down. We've got Una down here. I'm not sure Lukid was quite confident that was the case, but he does find out. Philippox onto Astro. All these kills coming away from sight, but are they aware of what's going on inside? As Live tries to get the diffuser down, gets himself a couple, but Philippox trades it out. 1 versus 1. We find ourselves clock ticking down, and Live has absolutely no choice but to try and stick this diffuser. In goes Philippox. Big round for him. Closes out the round, and that was close for Team 1. They did allow a bit of access to the site there. All the kills were coming away from site, but FaZe just unable to stick that diffuser plant in the end, and Team 1, they had it pretty much under control there.
Looked like you almost couldn't see him as well. I think the blood decals on the wall just slightly shrouding him with a black texture, meeting up with the operator model. So a couple of seconds before he flicked across and then put him down, setting him up on a date with the coroner and securing a third round in the defense buffer here for Team 1. They're going to be fairly happy with how the half has gone so far, but they'll really want to win this half and get themselves at minimum that 4-2 split.
Heading to trophy and statuary then for the last defensive site to try and achieve exactly that, Jackie. And as I said, coming into today, 100% win rate on this site for Team 1. But FaZe saw to that quick, smart, picking up round 2, which was the first attempt for Team 1 to defend trophy and statuary. But we saw them come back out and do very well in round 3. If you remember, Lukid just keeping himself locked down in that master closet. And that's a big question that needs to be answered by FaZe this time around. How are they going to deal with the man inside the closet? Now, I can see that Live's on the book, and I'm sort of wondering if there's an opportunity for him to get himself below, in and around kitchen dining, and open up the floor beneath the man, because last time around, putting in the utility, putting in the nades, it did not do the job they needed because Lukid is on the Wamai and he just keeps putting those magnets out and making it very, very difficult. But interestingly, it looks like we did have a drone down there in kitchen, so there is a strong suggestion the player will head in that direction, but we also have a man on the defensive side down there. We've got Felipox. Who else? He's 9-3 so far and not a defender that you want to be challenging lightly. Now, he's got himself back upstairs by the looks of things. So is this going to be a little bit of free real estate potentially for FaZe Clan to move into? But right now, it doesn't look like they're heading to take it. But then again, that said, I'm not 100% sure that Lukid is actually playing in the master closet this time around. So it may not be a problem that needs to be solved. I'd be surprised given the success of last time, but certainly looks that way. He's not in there.
And obviously this has become something we've really just started to expect as a natural occurrence now with the way Felipox is playing, right? 9 frags already. We'll probably see him at least hitting double digits going into this round and then being able to transcend even further. He's been such a nuisance maker in nearly every series we've seen him play when it goes to Villa. Very effective at the roam game. He just kind of gets let off the leash and goes for it. He'll run around Benton just trying to clean up frag after frag and really be able to punish you. So certainly have eyes on the Goyo later on into this one, but right now we're going back into it. 1:40 on the clock, push coming through, FaZe Clan starting to head into the bathroom, but let's see if they'll be able to break down the walls and actually commit in, bypassing it, being able to take down the player just lurking towards the stairway, waiting for the push to come through. That'll be Falls, takes a cheeky pick, gets a little bit of info off the back of the angle, and just dips back. Obviously, protected by the 2 ADSs. It's not going to be too much of a big deal. He won't need to overextend out, but the side is getting found, and they are being dropped down. Major Maestro's gone, but there's already some trades coming back through. Felipox hits double digits. Reduct comes through with 1 onto live that won't be living anymore. Mav and Una have to play the trade game, and they do so very well. Just leaving it up to Reduct and Falls now. A 2v2 is found, and they're really starting to pop off. The slaughter is coming out to play, making this round look less like a villa and more like an abattoir as everyone is being killed. It's all left on Iron to clean up. He finds the first, a quick adjustment onto the second on Falls that's going to fall down to the ground but be dead before he even hits it as Ion's clutched it.
I've got to say it, Jacking. You know where I'm going with this. I've got to question Redux positioning again on that round. He's just stood completely in the open on top of the diffuser, and Ion just moves in and guns him for free. He doesn't even really make a challenge on it, and I don't really know what's going on with Reed up there. That's the second time that we've seen him do that in the game so far, and you've got to ask questions because he knows he's got the diffuser down on the ground. I understand exactly why he was playing there, but let's not forget, he had his second man, he had Falls in Astronomy. They had control of Astronomy. So he could easily have watched that diffuser from the doorway, for example, and kept himself at least in some sort of cover from the direct challenge from Statuary Door, instead of leaving himself in complete no man's land with zero cover whatsoever and looking unprepared to be challenged from that angle. So if you're unprepared to be challenged from that angle, why are you stood in the middle of the room there? What exactly are you looking for in that case? Because, the only thing I can think is that you don't want to have the statue that's in that room in the way of your line of sight of that door. So that's why he stood further out, so he's got an angle onto the door. But I don't know, that one baffled me there. But Ion, great second shot as well. How about that shot through onto Falls in Astronomy? That was an absolute beauty.
No, it was clean, mate. It was a really sick follow-up. But you are right. I completely agree with you, honestly. Although Redux got 6 frags right now, and he is certainly hitting his shots, he's been caught out in 2 positions that just look really uncharacteristic, especially considering how we've seen throughout the regular season, right? Coming into it today, I don't know if maybe it's just taking him some time to ease into it. First game nerves, bracket play as well. It's best of 3. It's not the same as just the standard BO2s we've had throughout the whole season. There's a lot more on the line. But hopefully, if that is the case, he'll give his head a wobble, he'll get his mental back in check and be able to carry on here. Because right now, the scoreline is tied. 3 rounds a pop, the game is tight, and FaZe Clan, they've woken up. They're showing that they've got a fairly effective bite alongside their very loud bark.
Heading into round number 7 then, the sides have switched and we will see FaZe try their hand on the defensive side. They're going to be taking Aviator games to begin with, and it's been a sight of mixed fortunes for the defenders so far today. Team 1 just struggling a little bit to hold it down. They got 2 out of 3, but there is certainly wins to be had there for the attackers. That is something that they can take away from this. Now, I'm interested in what I see. We've got Raps moving in quickly on the Ash from the north side, and it looks like we've got at least 3 of 4 of Team 1 pushing from that north side, but I just want to see a little bit of south side pressure as well. We've commented on this. I think it was it NIP or Team Liquid that we saw pushing completely from the north side and just stalling out on that single door in towards Vault. It was very difficult come the end, and that's why sometimes you just need that second degree of pressure, that second angle on this site, because otherwise the defenders, it doesn't take them long to realise it, and ultimately all that happens is all the guns end up trained on that one door, and it becomes very difficult to do anything with it. So I'd like to see a little bit more pressure from the south side as well from Team 1, and this is what we see in the balcony. Hop is there. We've got a man out there now. oNe was looking to get aggressive there, and we've lost Astro along the way, so advantage is in the hands of Team 1 right now, but with a minute left on the clock, there is still quite a lot of work to be done here.
Man, if he had actually gone for the swing, there was potential to bring it back in line, keep it in a 4 versus 4. Instead, he's waiting, prepared for the push to come through, ready to trade if necessary, and Mav is the one just honed in, looking to peek. Contact is found, and Raps clearing his angles, trying to only peek one at a time and not really leave himself in a wide open space so that they can capitalize and converge together and just pick him off. But they do need to converge soon, and that is the side of Team 1 that need to push as they're leaving themselves about 25 seconds left for the execution. They get in, they're sat behind the door, but the bullets are still raining through, and it seems like FaZe Clan still wants some more, as Mav, the Massacreist, will come through with another frag. There is a little bit of damage done from Philippox, but it's only the 1-for-1. He couldn't get the follow-up frag and at least decimate and destroy anyone, and time is really coming up. At this point, you've got 6 seconds left to work with. Skeleton Key won't open up the round. Instead, it'll be FaZe Clan that lock it down. oNe with the final killing blow off the back of the pistol. They'll leave it like that. Again, with them taking a bit of an advantage going forward here off the back of their first round of defense. A nice way to start it off. And it really does come back to haunt them, Tim. It's what you were talking about. Team 1, they went in late, funneled through. They had such a good opener into the round, and then it just fell flat. It seemed like they weren't willing to really go for anything too audacious. Little by little, the clock starts to tick down. And when they do go for the execution, you just get mowed down.
Very difficult site to open up from that north side, Jackie. We've seen it time and time again. If you can get yourself control of 90 corridor, you've got the option of potentially opening up the vault wall if you've got hard breach on your side. But other than that, you're playing down to single doors, and it is very difficult. And as I say, for the defenders, FaZe, they were happy to just sit inside, hold their angles, and just wait for the filter to come on through. Even though Reduc managed to get himself in behind the vault door and in a position to get that diffuser down, FaZe worried about that because they had the smoke on hand. They knew exactly what was happening, and the situation was always fully under control for them. And for the first time in this match so far, they get themselves a lead. And right now, there's questions being asked of Team 1 here, and that is, how can you play from behind? How well can you do now that FaZe are on the defense here on Villa, have got themselves in front, and do look solid? If FaZe put this next round in the book on Trophy Statuary, that's 5-3, and that is a big shout towards getting the first map of this best of 3 on the board.
Fantastic start. Definitely the opening you would want for a side like FaZe, and in reality it's probably the dream scenario, and you've got to think about the fact that this is one map of many. They need to take another one to shut down the series if they win here on Villa, and that's still a big if, because we've seen Team 1 rattled to the core multiple times throughout the season. But again, somewhat akin to Team Liquid's, you can push them and you can shove them about, but eventually they'll have enough, they'll snap, they'll get back into the game. And really, for FaZe, it's a matter of you need to close it out before they wake back up, before they find the answer and sneak back through. Opening round, a little bit of a throwaway. Didn't go too well for them in the execution they decided to work for. It was only the opening pick they really found. From that point forward, it all just spiraled out of control. Going into round 8, what is the game plan going to be? And will they stop giving up those silly opening frags as well? Will they be able to actually capitalize here and build a nice lead, win the battle of attrition to give themselves breathing room later into the round?
Now, I know there's a little bit of administration to take care of whilst we're in the mid-round lull here, Jackie, and that is we don't know the full maps that we're going to be playing. We were sort of sped into the game a little bit. They were ready to go and the players dived onto the server, so I think we've got that map ban ready. We can just bring that on screen for you in a second and we will see exactly what is happening and where we will be playing. So Clubhouse and Coastline were the first two banned out. We're going to be playing Consulate, Cafe and Villa. Those are the three. Oregon and Theme Park also banned out. So that for me is a fantastic lineup for this match.
Oh, mate, it's a lovely little series. I'm excited to see how the other maps go, and I think we're in for a treat depending on the way this start really does go, right? If we have FaZe Clan locking it down here, there's potential for some excitement going forward. And there's already been some exciting plays, at least into the round so far. Team 1, they've suffered again another critical loss. Reduct, he's not having a great day of it when it comes to the opening frags. Again, he's dashed down, mopped up like a spilt drink, and they have another player suffering the same fate as well. Each and every one of actually at this point, Tim, just falling down like a biscuit that's been left in tea for slightly too long. They're crumbling. At least they're attempting to make something out of this round, but it's not looking good. It's all left on Luke here, playing with the skeleton key. That's a shotgun speciality being gifted there to live. Peeking through the crack in the crevice, we'll be able to find another one, and this is actually manageable now. It's certainly winnable into the 1v2. The only way that FaZe Clan can really throw this one is if they give him the 1v1s. He's going to scuffle his way along, sprinting through the bathroom and looking for another peek to try and punish. Does get contact and finds the headshot, bludgeoning his way through Astro. An astronomical mistake, leaving it to a 1 versus 1. Lukid, big boy Lukey D, can he do it? Unfortunately not. Peeks out through the doorway, gonna get spotted, and Mav will slam that door right in his face. And that's another round, a critical one to pick up as they get themselves a 5th. Big round there for FaZe Clan, as you say. Lukid fighting hard towards the end, but ultimately, as you said, Jackie, leaving them feel like a biscuit that was a one dunk just in the bottom of the cup. It's broken off. Getting a teaspoon out is an absolute nightmare. No. It's a logistical problem. Mate, it's always the worst, honestly. But at least we've got something that's better than your biscuits being destroyed. We do have, of course, the updated veto. It was a little error with the graphic there. Don't worry about that too much. As you can see, Villa was FaZe Clan's pick. This is the opening map. That's the reason why we started off on it here. Then we're actually going into Coastline as the second map. Wow, that actually is a little bit more spicy. Obviously, being Team 1's pick. And then finally, we're going to shut it down on Cafe. This looks a lot more interesting. This is definitely a bit of spice thrown into the mix. The paprika pick there on map 2.
Certainly is. It already looks to me, Jackie, like we're heading to 3. We've got FaZe coming, and they are looking strong on their choice of Villa. Team 1, they've been inconsistent on Villa. They've had 1 win and 1 draw during the regular season, so it's not been a terrible map for them. It's not been a stronghold either. It's not been their bastion of siege, and right now we're seeing that come to the fore. FaZe are looking pretty solid at this point in time. They've got themselves 2 good defensive rounds on the board. They're heading down to Kitchen and Dining now. They are looking to finish this one out in quick fashion, heading into Coastline. Now, we've seen FaZe play on Coastline just the one time, and if I have a look at how they did, I can tell you that they won on Coastline. So Team 1 could be a bit of a roll of the dice for them here, Jackie, taking FaZe to Coastline, 1 map down potentially.
It's actually quite spicy when you look at it, considering the fact that I think we both sort of looked at this first series and we're thinking, all right, after the season we've seen, Team 1, they probably hedge the bets. They probably actually come out on top and do shut down FaZe Clan here and really give them a bit of a wake-up call when they find themselves in the lower bracket. However, with the way Villa's been going so far, this has not really looked like a nice little recreational retreat for Team 1. Instead, it seemed like they have been shipped off to an island and have been terrorized. They'll need a holiday to get over this holiday because FaZe Clan are just bullying them, Tim.
Oh, they've certainly not been sat doing watercolours in the countryside. That much is for certain, Jackie. There has not been any of that going on now. Interesting pick coming in from Astro there on the Caveira. Don't tend to get too much of that at this level because Caveira is usually reasonably easily dealt with. However, she will not be dealt with on this occasion. as she get kill onto Lukid there, and that quickly leaves us in a effective 4 versus 3. Una is down. The man goes to pick him up. This could be a double, but how about that for a heads-up play from iONE? Manages to give him the turn and burn, takes Felipox down, and will be able to rescue his downed teammate safely, and that now leaves us in a 4 versus 2 falls. It will be ultimately shutting down Una. It was a great attempt from iONE there to get his man back on his feet, but he knows he has to keep himself alive there. He has to live to fight another day. Reduck gets the kill onto Mav. Surely we're not going to see it. We're in the LATAM Major. No, don't do him like this, Astro. In comes the interrogation. That will finish the round as iONE locks another one in for himself on the round. And right now, FaZe are in the ascendancy, Jackie. They look like an amazing team right now. They are electric.
Oh, mate. They've been pushed and they've been rattled throughout the regular season, but coming into the major, they are on major form and they are giving it. The Butcher Pete play coming out into that round, chopping that meat with the Cav and sending shivers down their spine. Disgusting. Disgusting move. Some of the shots we actually saw there were ridiculous as well, catching some of them on the replays. The turnaround was just outrageous to him. Unfortunately, you know, obviously thinking that maybe he could muffle the audio cues, he could go for the peek down, get the frag onto the player towards the stairways, not meant to be. Turn on a dime, easy headshots picked up, and it all crumbles away. At this point, it's now a total of 6 rounds that have been achieved, and it feels like this game has really flown by, especially into the second half. FaZe Clan, they have been charging in. The momentum has been ridiculous.
Oh, it was impressive stuff. He had the turning circle of a unicycle there. That was unbelievable, Jackie. Absolutely unbelievable reactions there. Like you say, dropped down, did not miss the scuffed footsteps on the stairs behind him, and then just wheeled around and absolutely decimated the man. You've got to think, that guy's got a family. Come on, give him a break. But no, completely shut him down. And we head into round number 10 here. FaZe Clan 6-3 in the ascendancy. They are going strong right now. It is major mayhem from them on the server as they continue to shut down our top seed team here, really struggling to get themselves into it, yet to win an attacking round. And tell you what, if they're not quick, they're not going to win a single one.
Ooh. This looks to be the lineup we've seen previously as well from Una with the Spawn Nitro. As you wait for him to come up the stairway, you dash it out and you try and find an opening pick. We've seen it once previously throughout the regular season. It did work out well, but we didn't catch the lineup. This time, we have seen it early, but there is no frag off the back of it. He's not been eating TNT for breakfast. He's not going to be doing a brilliant Julio impression to start us off here. But maybe later on, we'll still see some deadly destruction coming through with the detonation. Into the round, though, it's up to Team 1 to actually find frags to keep themselves even in it to win it. And they do get the first. Live's been extinguished. He'll be put out and go down in a puff of smoke, leaving 4 players alive for the FaZe Clan defense here.
The smoke can be a very big loss, as we know. Important utility is now gone off the board. That is 30 seconds at least of time that can be wasted by those toxic babe canisters that is gone by the wayside. So something that Live needs to just be cautious of if you bring in those important operators. Wamai is another one that grow into the round, but iONE, he will level things out with a nice little peek out of the game room door there, just getting onto Lukid, taking the book out of things. For Leapox, however, one onto Astro, and this round is going backwards and forwards right now. It is difficult to call exactly which way the chips will fall, but with 1.5 minutes left to go, there is plenty of time for the attack of Team 1 here to prod, poke, and find themselves a way, find those gaps. But once again, iONE just on the quick swing out of the game's door. They need to shut that down. They need to stop peeking that angle, because iONE, he's happy to challenge it. He's going to shut you down all day. He's got himself 2. You don't want to give him 3 or 4 on there.
Ridiculous. He is looking like an iONE cannon at the minute. One after one, he just keeps peeking and finding the easy frags. And talking of frags, at least one will fall back in the favor of Team 1, as Falls will cut his way through and massacre Mav, leaving it into a 3 versus 2 hit. There is favor for Team 1 going forward, but the response is really good. Yuna on the roam. He's a bit of a clutch king, and he's got his crown firmly planted on his head. However, will Ion be the jester? Looking like Loki. He's got the prismas set up, so if you spot them, if you do fire through and not really know where he is, if you're baited into his trap, he will spring on you like a spider and really weave a wicked web. He's right now just bouncing between both angles, looking like he's trying to mix up a cocktail, but he will be dashed down to the ground. There is a spillage of blood from Ion, and it's all left on Yuna for the clutch. Peeking into the bar, fires out the warning shots but can't connect. Unfortunately, he's even fallen into the trap, shooting at the own prismas. There will be the peek coming through from Falls from behind the sofa as he tells him to sit down, and Zofia will snatch away the round.
Is that going to be the shift in momentum that Team 1 so desperately need at the minute? They get themselves one back on the board and now find themselves 6-4. They are chasing hard to bring this one to overtime. They don't want to see this map disappear like a puff of smoke on the wind. They want to continue challenging. They know how important it could be to get this one. You don't want to lose the first map of the opening fixture of the major. It puts you on a serious back foot then, even if it is the choice of FaZe. But right now, Team 1, there is no room for error. They've got themselves one. They need another 2 consecutive successful attacks to take this one into a best-of-3 overtime. And right now, I'd be surprised, Jackie, still, if they manage to do that. FaZe have just looked too good on the defense to me. They've looked too solid, and that one came down to a 50-50 2v2 in the end. And I just feel like FaZe, they're going to iron out the mistakes in this round.
I mean, there is a potential for it though, Tim. Especially if you look at the fact, right, we were saying they've had a 6-6 before. It wouldn't be completely ridiculous to speculate that it's doable. And then if we got an overtime as a hell of a way to start off the major, our first semi-final, our first overtime of the entire season, because we have been on that best-of-2 format with the draws, it would be a hell of a way to really rattle them to their core and then send them looking exhilarated into coastline, because it's one of two ways in terms of the mentality. You come in fresh off the back of an overtime win, you're going to be hyped up, ready to try and behead the beasts and walk away with a smooth 2-0. If you're on the back foot of it though, you're the one that gets beaten in that OT, you're really going to have to try and play the mental fortitude game. Effectively just take it as a best-of-1 going forward and forget about the opening map, or else it's going to hurt. You're going to be wincing into the server. So I'm excited to see if there's potential for it. Right now though, we're going back into what could be the final round of the game, if FaZe Clan can shut it down, and that is still a big if. For Team 1, on the other hand, though, they've got 4 rounds to play with. They need to step up in terms of those opening frags, though. Reduct, he's gone down far too many times tonight. It's not looking like his normal self, Tim.
He's not at all, and in the major, you need everybody firing on all cylinders, just the way that Lukid has into Astro there. Great headshot from the book, and that is going to put the Jaeger down for the round. 1 minute in, and that is an early advantage to Team 1. Is this the beginning of the fight back? They're not going to have it easy. They are attacking onto FaZe's strongest defending site here on Villa. They are certainly the best in AVG, and it's 50-50 on the day for them. They've had 1 win and 1 loss so far. Team 1, they need to come in and secure another round here. They do not have any room for error. Just 1 more round for FaZe Clan will push them over the line and put the map on the board in this best of 3, meaning they only need 1 more, whereas Team 1, they will still need to come away and win 2 maps. It is then a real uphill battle for them. So for their money, they need to get themselves back into this one, and they need to fight as hard and as long as they can.
Like a game of chess boxing, Tim. Now, Team 1, they're playing the long con. They're playing chess. They're using their brains rather than their brawn. But Team 1, are you going to take too many hits? Will you be left struggling to think from the punches that you're taking, or can you throw back some stronger hits of your own? As Philippe Pox, Rocket Knuckles in play, as he will be dropping another man down off the back of the grenade and slaying another one, as Valkyrie is out of action. That's both Astro and Ion that have been dropped here, and there's only 40 seconds left to work with. Will they be able to throw a couple more punches now, take down the remaining 3 players, clear out an angle onto the site, and really do some work? There's still utility in play, though, for live. 2 smoke canisters in the back pocket. There's the Wamaigon, though, and this is where they really get pushed, and they're going to start to buckle under the pressure. It's all on live. 1 versus 4 to work with. In terms of damage that's been done, Team 1 are low. They're actually really not looking good when it comes to sustainability. So the placement of this smoke can could be pivotal for a success into the round. It's doing a lot of damage. Look how low they all are. 1 bullet essentially could kill 2 of them at this point going forward. It's only Raps that's on full HP, but it won't matter, as Raps is the one that gets contact on the Ash. Ash to Ash, dust to dust. He damages him through the wall and shuts him down, stopping him somehow being able to clutch out the round and keeps their dreams alive into the game. As Team 1 now another round away from being able to bridge the gap here, Tim, and push us into OT territory.
Like a cheap jigsaw jacket, it's all starting to fall apart for FaZe now. This is not going well. They have lost themselves a good couple of rounds on the bounce. And right now the question is, do they move side? Do they keep pressuring and trying Aviator games? As it is, they're going to head to Trophy and Statuary. And I don't think that's a bad shout for them. They were successful back in round 8, but every round on the defense for them really has been a battle. We haven't seen them completely run over Team 1 here. And Team 1, they are certainly keeping themselves swinging at this point. They want to keep themselves in the fight. They want this first map on the board. They're going to have to do it through overtime if that's the case. But all the questions are going to be answered right now, Jackie. Do we see another 3 rounds? I mean, to be honest, I just feel like that's a treat for us.
Oh, it would be. Honestly, it's like when you visit your nan and they've always just got those massive bags of sweets. Like, you never really know what brand they are. They've probably been there for a good, 20, 30 years, potentially.
Oh, they're always off-brand. Always off-brand.
But, you'll be more than happy to take one. You'll pop in, what looks to be some kind of off-brand Werther's original. You'll give it a good suck and you'll be like, right, I'm good to go. That sorted me out for the rest of the day.
And right now the question is just how many sweets are Team 1 going to take from the open bag of FaZe Clan right now? Can they come and take a 3rd in a row and finish this off, get us into overtime and just see exactly how this battle throws down? There's a lot of work being done to open up angles by FaZe here. They certainly don't want to make the approach to this site easy for Team 1 at all. And I think that's maybe something that they've struggled with in the last couple of rounds of Aviator games, is just allowing Team 1 just that little bit too much freedom to get themselves established inside of the map and feel comfortable to take those gunfights, feel comfortable to push into sight. And I was going to suggest getting that diffuser down is a big part of winning Aviator games against FaZe Clan. We've seen over the season their win rate drops to 50% or less when that diffuser is activated on the ground. They are not great at the retake on Aviator games. It was difficult for them 1 versus 3, but as you said, Jackie, 2 of those operators on only a sliver of health. And you just feel if things had maybe gone a little bit different, if he hadn't come up against the Ash, the Raps, who was on full HP at that point immediately, maybe he stands more of a chance. But ultimately it's all ifs and buts, because what happened was Team 1, they successfully closed the round out and got themselves back within 1.
That's the issue, right? Hindsight's 2020, so as much as we can look back on it and feel like there was a lot of potential when it comes to actually what went down in the history books, it's just Team 1 that have carved their name in, and now they're looking to just carve their way into the books for good and take this the whole way through to an overtime position. They need this round. It is do or die. If they drop on this one, it will be a 7-5 shutdown, and FaZe Clan will move on to Coastline with a 1-map advantage. Pika's advantage coming out, though, this time for Live, as he'll swing in. A pretty sight being served up with the SMG, as it's not looking good for Team 1, Tim. If they were trying to get this to overtime, it needs to be soon, as you've only got 2 players left alive, massively outnumbered and outgunned in a horrendous position to try and work together here. 55 seconds left on the clock as well, and it's rapidly going down. Though, we see Falls crashing down like a waterfall and being able to overwhelm Light, bringing it slightly further back of them, but it's still not looking good. It's going to be a hard-fought fight going forward. They do have the diffuser. It's a 2 versus 4. Where is the potential for them to actually pick this up?
Slow work being carried out by Team 1 here. They know they cannot afford to take a cheap death here, and Shots will rain out, but I don't think much damage is done to Mav there. Just about 25 HP. He knows he's in behind the bomb chassis there. He does get the peak this time around. It's actually Astro who's going to get shut down, and that finds us now 2 versus 3. But time is ticking away. Only 12 seconds left, and no choice but for Falls to get this diffuser on the ground. Here comes the challenge, and it's successful. Surely that is going to be game. He tries to make a fight of it, but ultimately the walls of Team 1 come tumbling down as FaZe, they take Map 1 here in this first best of 3 in the LATAM Major.
Oh, man. 1 round away from potentially being able to push it into OT. OT. There's never much love when it goes OT, but it won't be going overtime into this one, as we do have a winner decided on the first map. FaZe Clan, not fazed by what had happened throughout the regular season. They step up to the mark here now when it matters most. You're in major country, and they have really played some beautiful siege there to lock it down.